Have you ever needed to read data from a file or write data to a file in Java, but weren't sure where to start? Maybe you've looked online and found dozens of complicated approaches that left you more confused than before. In this video, I'm going to show you the simplest, most beginner-friendly way to read and write text files in Java. By the end of this tutorial, you'll be confidently handling file input and output like a pro. If you're aiming to land a job as a Java developer, mastering file I/O is non-negotiable, because almost every real-world Java application deals with data and files at some point. Hey everyone, welcome to my video. If you don't want to miss out, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Let's get started. Section 1, Writing data to a text file. When it comes to writing data to a file in Java, the class I use most often is BufferedWriter. It's simple, efficient, and perfect for beginners. Let's start by creating a new BufferedWriter object. You might do something like this. BufferedWriter equals new BufferedWriter. At this point, your IDE might complain because the constructor isn't complete. That's because BufferedWriter can write to many different types of outputs, not just files. So we need to tell it exactly what we're writing to, a file. We do that by wrapping it around a file writer. For example, new BufferedWriter new file writer output.txt. This will create a file called output.txt in the same folder as your program. If you're using an IDE like Eclipse, that will usually be your project folder. If you're using a plain Java file on your computer, it will go wherever your Java file is. Now, you'll notice Java complains about an I/O exception. That's just its way of saying, hey, this could fail if something goes wrong with the file. To handle that, we wrap our code in a try-catch block. Try / BufferedWriter code here. Catch, I/O exception e.print, stack, trace. Once our writer object is ready, the actual writing is straightforward. You just call writer.write writing to a file, but there's a crucial step you cannot forget, closing the writer. Writer.close. If you don't close it, the file will be created, but nothing will actually be written. Trust me, this is one of the most common mistakes beginners make, and it can be incredibly frustrating. When you run the program now, you'll see output.txt created, and it contains exactly what we wrote. Simple, right? Section 2, Writing multiple lines. What if you want to write more than one line? You might try calling writer.write again. Writer.write here is another line, but if you check your file, you'll see that it didn't go on a new line. Everything is squished together. The fix is simple, add a new line character \n to the end of each line. Writer.write \n here is another line. Now, each line appears exactly where you expect it. Section 3, Writing from arrays or variables. Hard-coding strings is fine for small examples, but in real applications, you'll usually want to write dynamic data. Let's say we have an array of names. String, names equals, John, Carl, Jerry. We can loop through the array and write each name to the file like this. For string name, names, writer.write \n plus name. Now, when you run the program, you'll see your file contains the original text plus each name on a new line. And if you want to save the file in a specific location instead of the project folder, you can use an absolute path. New file writer C:\users \John \example \output.txt. Just remember to use double backslashes on Windows. Section 4, Reading from a text file. Now that we know how to write to a file, let's read from it. For this, we use BufferedReader. It works similarly to BufferedWriter, but in reverse. First, we create a BufferedReader object by wrapping it around a file, reader. BufferedReader equals new BufferedReader new file reader output.txt, and, like with writing, we need a try-catch block to handle potential exceptions. To read a single line, we call string line equals reader.readLine, system.out.println. This will print the first line of the file to the console. But in most cases, you'll want to read every line, not just the first. For that, we use a while loop. String line, while, line equals reader.readLine. Equals null, system.out.println. Here's what's happening, reader.readLine reads the next line from the file and assigns it to the variable line. When there are no more lines, it returns null, which ends the loop. This way, you can process an entire file, line by line. And just like with BufferedWriter, don't forget to close your reader. Reader.close. Section 5, Summary and Real-World Relevance. Let's recap what we've learned. Use buffered writer wrapped around a file writer to write text to a file. Always remember to close your writer, or your data won't be saved. Use \n to start a new line, and loops to write arrays or dynamic data. Use buffered reader wrapped around a file reader to read text from a file. Loop through the file using readLine until it returns null to process all lines. These techniques form the foundation of file I/O in Java. Whether you're storing configuration data, logging application events, or processing user input, this knowledge is critical for real-world Java development and for passing technical interviews. Conclusion, call to action. And that's it. You now know how to read and write text files in Java from scratch. Simple, effective, and exactly what you need to start working with real-world data. If you found this video helpful, please hit the like button and subscribe. That's the only way these tutorials reach more developers who need help, and I'd really appreciate it. I'll see you in the next video with more Java tips and tutorials. Keep coding, and keep leveling up your skills.